Small changes, big results. In Atomic Habits, James Clear reveals one of the book's most powerful insights. Tiny changes can lead to massive transformations over time. The main message is simple. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money multiplies when you invest it wisely, the effects of good habits multiply as you repeat them consistently. The power of 1%. Clear introduces the idea of getting 1% better every day. At first, these improvements seem insignificant. You might not notice any visible progress for weeks or months. But small gains accumulate, and after enough time, they create dramatic change. In contrast, small negative choices, skipping the gym, wasting time, eating poorly, also compound, but in the opposite direction. If you improve by 1% daily for a year, you'll become 37 times better than you were when you started. This mathematical example demonstrates how consistency and patience are more important than intensity or speed. Systems over goals. James Clear emphasizes that success doesn't come from goals alone. It comes from systems. A goal is the result you want. A system is the process that leads you there. If you focus only on the goal, e.g., lose 10 kilograms, you might get frustrated when results don't come fast. But if you focus on the system, e.g., exercise every morning and eat healthy meals, progress becomes natural and sustainable. The plateau of latent potential. One of Clear's most insightful concepts is the plateau of latent potential. When you build new habits, results are often invisible at first. You might feel stuck or discouraged, but in reality, your efforts are accumulating below the surface. Then one day, everything changes, and people call it overnight success. Clear reminds us that what looks like a sudden breakthrough is actually the result of many small, consistent actions that finally cross a critical threshold. The secret to lasting change is to start small and stay consistent. You don't need to revolutionize your life overnight. Instead, focus on small daily actions that move you in the right direction. Over time, these atomic habits will reshape your identity and create extraordinary results. The power of atomic habits. At its core, Atomic Habits is about understanding that small habits are the foundation of big success. James Clear explains that your life today is essentially the sum of your habits. What you repeatedly do, think, and feel determines the direction of your future. The word atomic means tiny, but also powerful. Like an atom, it's small, but holds incredible energy. So atomic habits are small actions that, when repeated consistently, can lead to massive, life-changing results. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. James Clear compares habits to compound interest in finance. Just like money grows when it's invested and compounded, the effects of good habits multiply over time. Reading 10 pages a day may not seem like much, but over a year, that's more than 3,500 pages, enough to completely change how you think and see the world. Similarly, eating slightly better each day won't transform your body overnight, but it will redefine your health in a year. This is the power of consistency. Even tiny actions, when compounded, create unstoppable momentum. Why small habits matter more than motivation. Clear argues that people often rely too much on motivation or willpower. But the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If your habits are solid, progress happens naturally. If they're weak, motivation alone can't save you. For example, Waking up early to exercise doesn't depend on inspiration. It depends on the habit you've built the night before. Going to bed early, setting out your clothes, and committing to the process. Good habits make success automatic, not a daily struggle. The identity loop. Who you become is what you do. One of Clear's most powerful insights is that habits shape your identity. Every small action is a vote for the type of person you want to become. If you write every day, you cast votes for being a writer. If you train daily, you cast votes for being an athlete. Over time, your actions create evidence of your new identity, and that's how lasting change happens. Instead of saying, "I want to run a marathon," say, "I'm becoming the kind of person who doesn't miss a workout." Change happens when your habits and your identity align. The two sides of habits. Habits can work for you or against you. Positive habits compound in your favor, improving your health, mindset, and relationships. Negative habits compound against you, reinforcing procrastination, stress, or unhealthy behavior. The key, Clear says, is to design your environment and routines so that good habits are easy and bad habits are hard. The power of atomic habits lies in their simplicity and consistency. You don't need to change your life overnight, you just need to get 1% better each day. Over time, those small wins stack up into a completely new version of yourself. In Clear's words, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. The 4 laws of behavior change. James Clear introduces 4 simple laws that explain how habits are formed and how to change them. These laws are the foundation of atomic habits and give you a step-by-step system to build good habits and break bad ones. He breaks down every habit into a loop of 4 parts: cue, craving, response, and reward. And for each stage, there's a rule to make good habits stick and bad ones fade away. Number 1, make it obvious. Good habits start with clarity. You can't change what you don't notice. If you want to eat healthier, put fruits on the counter, not in the fridge drawer. If you want to read more, leave your book on your pillow. James calls this environment design, shaping your surroundings to make good habits visible and natural. He also recommends habit stacking, linking a new habit to an existing one. Example, after I brush my teeth, I'll meditate for 1 minute. You're programming your brain with clear triggers for success. Number 2, make it attractive. We're more likely to repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. To make a habit stick, combine it with something you enjoy. This is called temptation bundling. For instance, I'll only watch my favorite show while working out. When you link pleasure with progress, your brain starts craving the habit itself. The more appealing it is, the more you'll repeat it. Number 3, make it easy. The best way to start a new habit, make it effortless. Reduce friction, make good habits simple and bad habits difficult. Want to start exercising? Put your gym clothes out the night before. Want to stop scrolling social media? Log out, delete shortcuts, or move apps off your home screen. Clear says you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. If the process is easy, you'll do it naturally. Number 4, make it satisfying. Habits form when they feel good. We repeat actions that bring immediate rewards. So celebrate small wins. Cross off your habit tracker, reward yourself, or simply acknowledge progress. The satisfaction tells your brain this is worth repeating. Without it, habits fade. Small strategic changes in your environment and mindset can completely transform your behavior. Success doesn't come from discipline, it comes from design. When you make good habits obvious, attractive, easy,
and satisfying, change becomes inevitable. Identity-based habits. One of the most powerful ideas in Atomic Habits is that true change begins with identity, not with goals. Most people focus on what they want to achieve. I want to lose weight. I want to write a book. I want to make more money. But James Clear says that's the wrong starting point. The real question is, who do you want to become? Goals versus identity. When you focus only on outcomes, you rely on willpower. You push yourself to change, but deep down, you still see yourself as the old version of you. And eventually, your identity pulls you back. Instead, Clear says to start from the inside out. Change your beliefs first, your sense of identity. Tell yourself, I'm the kind of person who never misses a workout. I'm a reader. I'm a person who makes healthy choices. Once your identity changes, your habits naturally follow. Every small action becomes a vote for the person you want to become. Identity reinforcement. Each time you perform a habit, you reinforce your identity. When you write one page, you're becoming a writer. When you meditate for 2 minutes, you're becoming a calm person. When you save a few dollars, you're becoming financially responsible. The habit itself is proof of who you are, not something separate from it. This mindset removes pressure and adds power. You're no longer chasing success. You're simply embodying it. The goal isn't to read a book. It's to become a reader, not to run a marathon, but to become a runner. When your habits align with your identity, consistency becomes effortless. You stop asking, how long will this take? And start thinking, this is just who I am.
The role of environment. James Clear says your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. We often think habits depend on motivation or discipline, but in reality, your surroundings influence you far more than willpower ever could. If you want to change your life, start by changing what's around you. 1. Environment design. Your environment sends constant signals to your brain. If a cue is visible, your brain automatically reacts to it. That's why it's easier to eat a cookie sitting on the counter than one hidden in a cabinet. To build better habits, design your space for success. Want to eat healthier? Keep fruit on the table. Want to work out? Put your gym clothes by the bed. Want to practice guitar? Keep it in the middle of the room, not in the closet. When the cues for good habits are obvious and visible, action becomes natural. 2. Separate spaces for separate habits. Your brain associates behaviors with specific places. If you always scroll your phone in bed, your brain links your bed with distraction, not sleep. To change habits, create distinct spaces for different actions. Work in one area, relax in another, exercise somewhere else. That way, your mind instantly knows what to do in each space. 3. Social environment. Your physical space matters, but so do the people around you. We naturally imitate the habits of our peers. If your friends read, exercise, or build businesses, you'll likely do the same. Surround yourself with people who already live the way you want to. Clear says, join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Your environment can either pull you backward or push you forward. If you design it intentionally, making good habits easy and bad habits invisible, success becomes effortless. As James Clear puts it, you don't need more motivation, you need a better environment. The plateau of latent potential. James Clear introduces one of the most powerful ideas in Atomic Habits: Real change often happens slowly and then all at once. This is what he calls the plateau of latent potential. It's the idea that when you're building new habits, progress isn't always visible right away. You can be putting in effort day after day, working out, saving money, learning a skill, and still feel stuck as if nothing's changing. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. 1. The ice cube metaphor. Imagine an ice cube in a cold room. At 25 degrees, 26 degrees, 27 degrees, nothing seems to happen. Then suddenly, at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. The small rise in temperature didn't create instant change, it unlocked all the work that had been happening below the threshold. That's exactly how habits work. You might not see results for weeks, but once you hit your melting point, progress explodes. 2. The Valley of Disappointment. Most people quit during what Clear calls the Valley of Disappointment. It's that phase when you're working hard but not seeing any visible reward. You feel like your effort isn't paying off, but it actually is. It's just hidden. Consistency is building momentum behind the scenes. 3. Breakthrough moments. When you finally see success, losing weight, gaining followers, mastering a skill, it's not because of one big push. It's the result of all the small, invisible wins that came before. Clear reminds us you have to be patient enough to let your habits compound before success becomes visible. Lasting success is not linear. It's quiet progress that suddenly becomes obvious. If you stay consistent, even when nothing seems to be happening, you'll eventually cross the plateau and experience massive growth. The truth is simple. You never fail because it's not working. You fail because you stop too soon. Final takeaway. At its core, Atomic Habits by James Clear is not just a book about building good habits. It's a guide to transforming your entire identity and life philosophy through the power of small, consistent actions. Clear teaches that success doesn't come from one massive effort, lucky break, or moment of genius. It comes from the compound effect of tiny improvements made every day. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start small and stay consistent. He reminds us that habits are the invisible architecture of our lives. They shape how we think, feel, and act, often without us even noticing. By mastering them, we take back control of our future. One of the most powerful lessons from the book is that true change happens at the identity level. It's not about saying, I want to run a marathon, but about believing I am a runner. Once your identity shifts, your actions naturally follow. Clear also stresses the importance of systems over goals. Goals set the direction, but systems are what drive progress. You might have the same goals as everyone else, but it's your system, the habits you build and repeat, that determine your results. He encourages patience. Change is slow, often invisible at first, like watching grass grow. But eventually, the results become undeniable. The plateau of latent potential teaches us that the biggest breakthroughs happen after long periods of quiet persistence. In the end, the book delivers a simple but life-changing message. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If you commit to becoming 1% better every day, if you choose identity over motivation, and if you build habits that align with your best self, success becomes inevitable. Change doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. Start small, stay consistent, let time multiply your efforts. That's how you think, act, and grow into the person you were meant to be.